Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Eden Fulton, Executive Vice President at Identimetrics. Some quick housekeeping things before we get started. We will be emailing each of you a recording of this webinar. If you have questions during the webinar, feel free to submit them through the Zoom chat. Also, Brian Adams is here with us directing the webinar and will be managing the Q&A at the end. Let's begin. New state laws, a labor crunch, and the surging cost of food, delivery services, lunch trays, and other cafeteria supplies, coupled with the expected expiration of government meal assistance programs, are creating overwhelming challenges for food service directors across the country. Now, more than ever, 100% accuracy and a laser focus on operational efficiencies are a necessity. Presenting today is Dr. Jay Fry, President and CEO of Identimetrics. As you may already know, Identimetrics is the #1 provider of biometrics in K-12 education. What you may not know is that Dr. Fry is also a former principal and school administrator. So he comes to us with a wealth of hands-on, practical experience. He understands the challenges you face every day. Jay.
Thank you, Eden, and thank you to everyone joining us today. As Eden said, I'm a former principal of a middle school of over 1,000 students. Every day we were putting out fires related to student and staff identification, lost and forgotten ID cards, shared ID numbers, miskeyed ID numbers, and the resulting inaccurate records all caused a tremendous waste of time and frustration for my teachers and staff. What we needed was an ID solution so we could feel less stress in managing all that we had to get done in a day. That's why we created Identimetrics over 20 years ago. What used to take an office staff hundreds of hours a year to manage now takes hardly any time at all. And those inaccurate records and time-consuming audits are a thing of the past. Identimetrics was designed to eliminate ID cards and numbers and use something the students could not lose: their fingers. It had to work with software the schools already had in place and needed to be simple and easy for the staff as well as young students. And of course, just like in my principal days, I would only accept exceptional customer service and technical support from my staff. Many of the leading K-12 companies like Heartland, Titan, and Harris School Solutions have chosen to partner with us because of the value that we bring to their products and their customers. We know that at the end of a chaotic day, you want to feel good about educating kids and running a good program. That's why our #1 goal is to simplify your school day. When was the last time you used rabbit ears to adjust your TV or made a long-distance call on a payphone? Nobody does that anymore. Nationwide, more than 1 million students are using biometrics every day in the cafeteria, for attendance, and other locations throughout their schools. Their school administrators and technology teams are progressive thinkers who want to take control over their ID management headaches so they can educate their students and run their programs. The old-fashioned methods of identification like ID cards, numbers, and visual identification are draining their time and their resources and creating real problems every day. Some of the problems you face each day impact your time, like reconciling inaccurate and compromised records. Some of them impact your budget, like paying for meals that are questioned by parents. Some of them impact your students, like not having enough time to eat because the lunch lines are too slow. Some of them impact your teachers, like not having enough classroom time because of delays in the cafeteria. Some of them impact the administration, like audit and reimbursement problems. And some of them just irritate you and your staff, like parent complaints. It all adds up to a big headache for you. So, what's the solution? The solution is Identimetrics. With Identimetrics, you can proudly use progressive technology to take control of your ID management. You get accurate and efficient data collection, reporting, and audits by eliminating ID cards and PINs. Your students are able to eat and get to class on time because they are identified quickly and accurately. Your records and accounts are secure because biometrics protects student privacy. Your parents, staff, and administrators are happier because you've eliminated drudgery and stress. The real solution means that you have more time to focus on what's important to you because of increased efficiency and fewer distractions. In other words, peace of mind. So how does the finger scanning process work? The finger is scanned by the finger scanner. The software identifies unique points. Note that no fingerprint images are stored. The points are transferred to a binary number. The number is encrypted, linked to the user's ID number, and stored in the database. When the user returns, the same process happens again, and a new template is compared to the database until a match is identified. The matching ID number is sent to the host application, and the user's account is found. All of this happens in about a second with a false acceptance rate of 1 in 200 million. And it's impossible to recreate the fingerprint from this data, so privacy is ensured. Getting the students enrolled is simple and easy. Students enroll in Identimetrics only once. It takes about less than 30 seconds. The students enroll from any scan station. Once they're enrolled, there's no need to re-enroll them again, ever. Their biometric info can be transferred from one school to another. We can even provide sample parent letters for you to use. I'm going to show you how fast it is to enroll 3 different students. The first student is in kindergarten.
Let's see how easy it is to enroll students into Identify. Your name?
Alina Farris.
Okay, let's put your right finger up there. Go ahead. 1, lift up your finger. 2, and one more time. 3, and then left hand. 1, 2, 3. Great. All right, thank you.
Carly Thompson.
Carly Thompson. Okay. And let's do your right finger. 1, 2, 3, and your left finger. 1, 2, 3. Great.
I am Girl Scout.
Okay. And let's do your right finger. 1, 2, 3, and your left finger. 1, 2, 3. Great.
Identimetrics is flexible. It's designed to work in a single school or across an entire district. All biometric devices are not created equal. You need a robust hardware that will withstand considerable use. Little fingers, wet fingers, and the occasional clunk of a ketchup can. We've tested a multitude of finger scanners on all kinds of fingers over 2 decades. The typical finger scanners that work just fine with normal adults fail with young children and difficult to read fingers. We test and test and test again. That's why we know the best finger scanners in the market today, and that's only what we recommend and support. The USB biometric scanners are the most popular for POS applications because they're cost-effective, robust, and fast. They attach to any Windows-based PC, laptop, or tablet via USB port. Now, Eden is going to talk to you about our customer support and implementation. Eden?
Identimetrics is solid, time-tested, and just works. But when life happens, we're just a phone call away. Our team of biometric experts will escort you through any issue, or they will log in and take over if needed. We're set up to ensure a prompt response that's on target, detailed, and meaningful. Your time is valuable to us. We have a special customer resource website where you can schedule an appointment, open a support ticket, access our video library, cheat sheets, and more. Your success is our critical path, and we make it easy for you. We take you through 5 thoughtful steps that makes implementing Identimetrics a cinch for you. The first step is orientation. After you place your order, you'll receive a welcome email from us and an orientation video that gives you an outline of what we need to do together. Step 2 is deployment planning. This is the technical design phase where we customize Identimetrics just for you. All of your questions your techs have will be answered. And at the end of this meeting, we will deliver your deployment plan. Step 3 is installation. Since we have already established our deployment plan in step 2, step 3 is simple, installation, and we do all the heavy lifting. Step 4 is enrollment training. Not only will you be comfortable with how to enroll your students, we share all of our tips and tricks so that you're confident using the software and enrolling students. Step 5 is your final system check. We can meet or we can provide a checklist if you'd like to do it yourself. We just want to make sure that your first day is flawless. So how much does it cost? The most popular package is $2,900 per school. That includes all you need to get started: biometric software for your first scan station, an enrollment station, finger scanning hardware, installation, training, and support, and each additional scan station is $800 each. Annual subscription is only 20% of the purchase price and starts in year 2. Jay?
Thanks, Eden. Identimetrics Biometric ID Management simplifies your school day and helps you and your staff perform at your best. You have efficient, accurate, hassle-free accounting and data with happier administrators, staff, parents, and students. From your seasoned staff down to the kindergartners, Identimetrics is 100% accurate, safe, and secure. Identimetrics works with the POS software you already have. Our software is ever evolving. As a result, you always have the latest and greatest version. With Identimetrics, students enroll only once and can scan anywhere that requires accurate ID. As for customer support and services, our only option is excellence. The frustration and inefficiencies of cards and pins are a thing of the past. Take control over your ID management worries and focus more on what you do best, providing an awesome environment for educating your students and operating a superb program.
Thanks, Jay. Now, before we open this up for some question, here's just a reminder: we will be emailing each of you a recording of the webinar. And I'll be your point of contact if you would like a formal quote or if you have any questions after this webinar. All of my contact info is on the screen now and will be included on the follow-up email. And I look forward to helping you soon. Now it's time for some questions. Again, please feel free to add your questions into the chat window. Brian, what questions do you have for us?
Looks like we've got a couple questions already rolling in here. First one is, I'm ready to move forward. What do I do next?
Jay, you want me to take that one?
Yeah, would you please, Eden?
Sure. Just contact me. You have my contact information right here on the screen now. And if you don't have a pencil, remember we're going to be emailing you a copy of this webinar, and all of my contact information will be in that email for you. Can't wait to talk to you.
Oh, thanks. Next question here is, how long have you been in business?
Since I was there from the beginning, Eden, I'll answer
Yes.
that.
Go ahead.
Identimetrics is actually the result of complaints from my staff when I was a principal. We made 1,000 ID cards at the beginning of the year and another 1,000 cards during the course of the year because the students lost them. So my secretaries complained about having to make and remake the ID cards. But furthermore, my cafeteria staff complained because the students would lose their cards or couldn't find their cards because they had so many pockets in their clothes, or they dropped them somewhere on the way from class to the cafeteria, and the lines would become slow. And then, of course, because those students didn't have their cards and they got sent to the end of the line, parents complained because they didn't want their kid being at the end of the line just because they lost a card. So if we had to look a student up, as you know, it takes time to actually look them up in the system and put their information in. So about more than 20 years ago, I began looking for a solution and was able to put a team together to build a solution that would provide biometric identification to be used in not only the cafeteria, but then in the library and also for attendance and a variety of other places, as we described earlier, which is easy then to identify those students. And because of the way we designed the system, it not only will work with your current point of sale application or your library application, but when you decide to change your cafeteria application to something else, we simply reconfigure for your new point of sale system, and you continue using the biometrics like you always did. So the 20 years of experience has helped provide a very robust biometric ID solution for schools, which our customers find to be invaluable.
Mhm.
Thanks, Jay. We got a question that is super helpful for everyone here is where is the biometric data stored?
This is an excellent question. I'm going to just chime in here. The biometric data is stored on your network behind your firewall, just where probably a lot of other student data is stored. We are not in the cloud. The data is not in the cloud or on the internet at all. So it's super private in that regard.
Well, the other thing parents and schools are concerned about, Eden, is the data safe? And
Oh, right, sure. Mhm.
so it's not only behind the firewall at the school and stored on the school servers and behind that firewall, but because the software doesn't take or store any fingerprint images and none can be recreated from the data, the student's biometric data or finger scanning data is not usable to anyone who might think they
True.
had some biometric data. So you can't recreate that fingerprint, and there are no images there as well. The only thing we store in our data are the last name, first name, and middle initial of the student and the student ID number, which then gets linked to the biometric template that's created. So from my viewpoint as a school principal, I think students' ID is more protected and safer than an ID card, because an ID card, of course, that a student might lose has their picture, their name, and their school, which is enough information for someone to identify them on the street. So the biometric data is stored in your school and very safe and secure.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks. We got two questions here and they kind of run together. So I'll just present them and you can answer them together. How do you handle students whose parents have issues with biometrics? Is the first one. And the second is, can you help with parent communication?
Oh, Eden?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack with those two questions. So let's start with the communication piece. As part of the onboarding process, we will provide you with some communication materials. So we have a letter for your parents, a letter for your colleagues, and a cut sheet, which I call How It Works. So it's a cut sheet that describes how the process of finger scanning works, and how we're not collecting any fingerprints. It has a nice Q&A on the second part of it, and a really nice table that describes the differences between finger scanning at schools and, for example, forensics. We also have, and they're all starting points, you can change the text if you want, but it's a really good place to start. We even have those documents in Spanish. And the other cool thing that we have, again, as part of the onboarding process, is a privacy policy recommendation that Jay wrote. And I think that's really, really cool insofar as you can use it to be part of your policies. It can inspire you to create more. You can use them all. You can use a couple, whatever. works. But all of that stuff is available to you as you onboard. Now, we do, from time to time have parents that wish to have their student opt out of this program. And what we've done is we have responded to that in the software. So each record has a field in which you can tag that record opt out. That record becomes unenrollable, and it assures the parent that that student will not be part of the program. Anything I'm missing on those two topics there, Jay?
Well, I don't think so, but I do want to elaborate a little bit on the privacy policy.
Yes.
So
That you wrote.
the privacy policy is designed to go in the student handbook, so that you've set down the policies for the entire school, including this part. And while it's a little bit more elegant than I'm going to describe it, it basically says we're going to provide a biometric finger scanning ID solution for our school. You can, or your students or your children can opt out at any time. If they opt out, their biometric record will be deleted. When the student leaves the school for any reason, their record will be deleted. And so the whole goal here is to provide assurances that the biometric data is not going to be kept. And that way, when you put it in your handbook, it becomes a matter of your policy. And that all gets done during the first year. And in the second year, it's just a matter of practice in the school of what happens. But it's easy enough to allow someone to opt out because you already have something in place to identify them. And this can continue to operate in tandem. So if you're using ID cards or a PIN pad in your cafeteria, you can keep that attached to your terminal. And you can also have the finger scanner there too. And what we have found over time is that the students who use the finger scanner find it is easier and faster for them to be identified. And the students who don't use the finger scanner will often see, when they see that, request to be participating in the program. So it's just a matter of building confidence with them in the first year.
Thank you. We got a question here that's, do you feel the program will be effective as well as cost efficient for a school that only has 70 students?
That's a fabulous question. So I was a principal of 1,000 students, and I got a call from a school, a charter school that had, we asked about our software. And one of the things I always like to know about schools is where you're located. I'm very interested in their locale. And how many students do you have? And the response was, well, we only have a little over 100 students. And I said, well, why would you need this at all? Because you just have so few students. And the response was, even though we have only a few students, our records need to be accurate, and we get audited on a regular basis, and the records challenged. And also, our lines are also slow, even though there are fewer students in the big picture. The line still has to handle the students, and the timeframes are a problem. So it helped ease the lines as well. And I might say in the follow-up on that, the person who was using this said that on a regular basis during their audits, the auditor might spend a day or two or even three going through all of their records to be sure they were accurate. But when the auditor returned after the biometrics and the cafeteria manager was asked the question, how do I know these are accurate? Was shown the biometrics and explained the system, and the auditor was gone in 3 hours because they had a higher level of confidence in the biometrics and the record creating from them as well. So I would say from that perspective, it has proven to be cost effective in the use of biometrics. Not, by the way, not to mention the time you save in not having to make and remake the cards.
Certainly.
Right on.
We have time for one more question here, and it's how do you handle support issues?
Oh, Eden.
Well, there's a couple different ways that we can be contacted. We have a customer resource center that you can contact us through that. You can email the support team, which opens a support ticket, or give us a call, also opens a support ticket. The support tickets are end up in the inbox of all of our techs. So the first one who's available picks it up and grabs it.
Mhm.
We use remote support software, so we can log in to computers and do installations, and also respond to technical situations in that regard as well. So we're really committed to making sure that Identimetrics simplifies your school day. So we're also always trying to make sure we're on top of all of that in terms of tech support. We have some fabulous experts that know their stuff and are also just wonderful human beings. So you will definitely enjoy working with them.
Eden, I just want to add one thing to that, and that is I personally have supervised thousands of hours in the school cafeteria. And I know that it is the most intense place in the school, a couple of times a day. If you're serving breakfast, of course, but certainly at lunchtime, it's most intense place. It's like doing a theater program where the show starts every day at a specific time, and all of the actors and players have got to be in place, because when those kids come to the cafeteria, they are not messing around. And so when there's a problem in the cafeteria, it's not just a problem, it can be an emergency. And our tech staff takes all of those things very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we want to make sure your program operates the way it should. And by the way, what we really want, although we love talking to you, is not to hear from you at all, because that means it's working seamlessly and in the background, and that's the way it should work.
Yeah.
It's just something you can expect to work all the time. And in fact, I'm always happy to hear customers, when they're asked about our software, reply with, you know what, it just works. And that's really all you need to have, is something that just works.
Yep,
So
that's the best.
thank you, Brian. I think that was the last question. So I want to thank you all for attending today. I hope the webinar has been helpful for you. And to let you know that the Identimetrics biometric ID system provides safety, efficiency, accuracy, and accountability for your food service operations. And we look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. Thanks, Eden. Bye-bye.